microphone.
Okay. Yes, that's good. Thank you. Good morning. Will you please stand in body and or spirit and sing our first hymn? It's number 360 in the gray hymnal and entitled, Here We Have Gathered. As we've just experienced, we begin our worship service each week by singing an invitation to gather together even as we're scattered in many different places. Again, good morning. I'm Dennis, and it's my pleasure to serve as this morning's worship associate for this service of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Charlotte County, also known as UUFCC. This service is being broadcast live via Zoom and YouTube. I wish to express my gratitude for those supporting technology this morning, Corey, Tom, Doug. Also, a big thank you to Ryan Smith, our pianist, and even in her absence, gratitude to Janet, our choir director, and members of the UUFCC choir. Also, I'd like to extend thanks to all that support this service, those that greeted, those that fixed the snacks. Thank you very much. I'd like to remind you of a couple simple procedures that will help this broadcast and service run smoothly. To respect and protect everyone's privacy, it will be our practice to use only first names and, when helpful, last initial. If you are participating through Zoom, you may wish to have a chalice or candle available for our chalice lighting ritual. All Zoom participants will be told when it is time to light their chalices. We are a progressive and inclusive spiritual community. We value the free and responsible search for truth and meaning and offer a caring and diverse religious community guided by reason, conscience, and compassion. We encourage intellectual inquiry, foster growth, and prompt social justice, and environmental responsibility. And our welcome is genuine. If you are new here, would you please raise your hand or stand and tell us your name and perhaps what brings you here? Doug will bring around the mic, and please speak into it.
Yes, good morning. I'm Doug C., and I'm here with my wife who has been here before, and I just think that I probably share a lot of values from many of the folks here.
Welcome. Okay. If you want to learn more about the fellowship, you can contact our administrator, Anna, at uufcc.office@gmail.com. Please notice that this is a temporary email while we get the other one fixed. We're glad that you're with us this morning. And now we will have a prelude. Thank you, Ryan. This morning's chalice lighting words were written by the brilliant longtime UU and friend Ken Brennan. Most of the world's mainstream religions have evolved over a long period of time. Each gets handed down to the next generation with a set of beliefs, a history book from which the beliefs have been extracted. Unitarian Universalism is a relatively new denomination. It does not have a unified, ready-made history book. It does not come with a neat list of required beliefs and commandments. Good. Like archaeologists, Unitarian Universalists are tasked with delving into history to find the truths that support our religious life. For that reason, it is a useful exercise to learn about and reflect on the lives of those who have contributed to the values that we live daily. This morning, the lighting of the chalice is a ritual that unites Unitarian Universalists everywhere. It is a symbol of so many of our values: love, guidance, courage, sacrifice, illumination, passion, and the light of community. No single interpretation is sacrosanct over the others. Like our faith, they are all inclusive and accepted. In this symbol, we see both the vessel and the flame. The choice is a cup of generosity, community, and substance. The flame is the light of hope, courage, and wisdom. In this symbol, we see much of our aspirations, and it lights the way through the darkened times and illuminate our hopes for the future. And now, as Ryan R. comes forward to light the chalice here in the sanctuary, please join me in the recitation of our affirmation, which is printed in your order of service. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its law. This is our aspiration: to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. Now I invite you at home to light your chalices or candles. Once again, please rise in body and or spirit and sing hymn number 187. It sounds along the ages. Our opening words this morning are a responsive reading. It's in the back of the gray hymnal, number 512. It's entitled, "We Give Thanks This Day." I will read the regular font, and you'll respond with the italicized font. For the expanding grandeur of creation, worlds known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imaginations. We give thanks this day. For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons. We give thanks this day. For the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements. We give thanks this day. For our human community, our common past and future hope, our oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression. We give thanks this day. For high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding of views not shared. We give thanks this day. For all who have labored and suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so that others might live in dignity and freedom. We give thanks this day. For human liberty and sacred rights, for opportunities to change, to grow, and to affirm and choose. We give thanks this day. We pray that we may live not by our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds. We have a long tradition at UUFCC of sharing our joys, sorrows, and life milestones by entering them into the Red Book of Life. Typically, when you come in, the book is back on the table as you enter on your right. And at this point, Cheryl has the book and will bring it up to me. Thank you. If you aren't planning to be in the sanctuary on a Sunday morning, you may email your joys, sorrows, and personal milestones to bookoflife@uufcc.org. Messages should be sent no later than the Saturday prior to the service. During the Sunday morning service following the receipt of your message, the worship associate will read your words to the congregation and following the service, transcribe the message into the Red Book. In our tradition, we revere the living of our lives as a sacred endeavor, believing that the joys and sorrows we experience hallow the living of our days. So in a mood of prayer and meditation, I will now read from the Book of Life. Debbie Conrad's husband, Ed, died yesterday. Oh, no. He was in hospice in Wisconsin. Debbie's son and daughter are with her in Wisconsin. And she wrote a note to Sharon that said, "My heart is broken." Our choir director, Janet, had a serious car accident on Friday. Someone made a left-hand turn into her lane on 776. She is home from the hospital with broken ribs, other injuries, and she welcomes calls and visits. We wish her to have a rapid recovery. Now, in the spirit of respectful witness, I invite you to share a brief glimpse into the joys and sorrows of your life through the ritual of dropping stones into water. Each stone is a milestone, a story embraced by the great pool of life. Each falls in reverence, stone piling on stone and creating an altar of sorrows and joys. The compassion of this congregation falls as softly as stones through the water, surrounding our loved ones and friends in a quiet embrace. If you would like to participate in this ritual, please come forward, then pick up a stone and speak into the microphone while sharing. As you drop your stone into the water, tell us your first name and what major changes are shaping you on your path.
Well, I had prepared to tell you guys about Janet, but someone did the job for me. Probably her. So the stone is for Janet. It was a little scary because she actually butt dialed me while it was happening. All I heard was someone say to her, "Don't worry about anything. This is all material that can be replaced." Come to find out that was the EMT. So I'm like, okay, something's going on. So I hung up and called her back and didn't get her until 11:30 at night when Rocky was texting me. So this one's for you, Janet.
And Ryan and I went up to see for ourselves because I got this email that said Janet had a brain bleed, and wait a minute, 12 hours ago she was playing the saxophone and doing a duet up here Friday night, and I got a hold of her finally and found out what happened. And she's like, "Oh, I'm fine, I have broken ribs, I might have a broken jaw, I might have a broken knee, but they're saying I'm gonna go home today." And I thought, somebody with credentials better go up to the hospital and see what's going on. So I convinced her to let us come up and visit, and in typical Janet fashion, she was up with the physical therapist, brushing her teeth with her non-dominant hand because this one is huge. And she, in fact, went home at noon yesterday. So she's going to have a barrage of visitors today. All she asked for was a pot of chicken noodle soup, so that's on the stove. And she fully plans on having choir practice and being here on Wednesday with a ride. And I have no doubt that she will be here on Wednesday with a ride. I had immense respect for her before, and I was just blown away yesterday. Just tougher than anyone I've ever met.
Good morning. My name is Joseph, and I come with gratitude. I just had a hernia surgery. A nice, shiny robot worked on me with the assistance of the surgeon. And although it's a rough recovery the first week or so, I am very grateful to Lynn, who kept my spirits up and took care of me while I was recovering. Still another couple of weeks before it's all done. I plan to reach out to Reverend Ann. I'm sure you all know Reverend Ann is available for pastoral care. So I'm going to chat with her a bit to make sure that everything is going well. And the other thing that I want to share is gratitude, hope, feeling of great relief after last Sunday. I'm not going to get political, but I feel a sense of hope and a sense of ready for the challenges ahead. And I wish a very special woman who is going to take care of us the best of luck. So, thank you.
Hi, Janet asked me to drop this stone in for her friend Allie, who has cancer and is not doing very well. And this isn't a stone, but like we had so much fun Friday night with the drumming and the singing, and it was fantastic. It was an open mic, but it was fantastic. I hope sometime everybody comes and goes. It's fantastic. Okay, bye.
stone for the sorrow of Debbie Conrad in this time of loss. She's been a dear friend since I've been here.
Good morning, I'm Patrick. I'm the president of P-Flag chapter in Port Charlotte. I wasn't here last Sunday because I went to the Winter Garden Presbyterian Church, Reverend Devin Andrews. Maybe a few months ago, she reached out to P-Flag because she wanted her congregation to be more inclusive of everybody, including LGBTQ people. So I wanted to keep up the connection, so I visited her church. It's a small congregation, but they have a wonderful pantry and they feed many people who can't afford food. And then last night I went to a fundraiser for MCC Church in Venice, which is the gay church there, Metropolitan Community Church. So Reverend Nancy Wilson, I supported her in her fundraising. So it's good we keep together and keep supporting each other.
And this stone represents the joys and sorrows that remain unspoken, but are held in our hearts. May we hold all these and one another in love and tenderness, so that this fellowship continues to be a source of strength and comfort, courage and hope in the days and weeks ahead. And now we will have a time of silence. Thankful for the breadth of our community, let us endeavor to support one another in all times and seasons. May this congregation ever be a harbor for the heart and a sanctuary for the soul. Amen. And now I will turn the pulpit over to Ken.
Good morning. Wow, it's wonderful to see your faces from up here. It's been too long. Okay. Thanks, Tom. A lot of people are thinking about government these days, and so we're going to take a little archaeological excavation into the founding of our government and the person who was involved. When I take a broad view of our government, I'm always reminded it was created not by evolution and happenstance, but by design. And the people who designed it were an amazing bunch with a diverse set of talents, insights, opinions, and beliefs. Thomas Jefferson, our subject today, topped them all in the area of formal education. He was born in Virginia in 1743 to a father who regretted his own lack of education. He determined to give his son the best. By the time young Thomas finished his basic education and apprenticed himself to a lawyer, he was proficient in 4 languages: Greek, Latin, French, and English. He was a word person. Eventually, Jefferson was elected to the Virginia House of Burgesses. This was his first step in a career that would see him as a 2-time governor of Virginia, a secretary of state, a vice president, and a 2-time president of the United States. In 1775, he was appointed as Virginia's delegate to the Second Confederate Congress, which was meeting in Philadelphia. The Congress was expected to create a new American government. Jefferson was the youngest member. Jefferson and 4 other prominent members of the Congress were assigned to a committee charged with writing the birth announcement of the new government to the world, especially the British. The other members, including Ben Franklin and John Adams, took the attitude, Jefferson, you're the better writer. Why don't you do it? So at the age of 33, Jefferson sat down and drafted the most famous of all his writings, a document we cherish today, the Declaration of Independence. It reflects Jefferson's love of liberty and of words. Later in his life, Jefferson listed the Declaration of Independence as one of the 3 most valued accomplishments of his life. The other 2 were the bill establishing religious freedom in the state of Virginia and the founding of the University of Virginia. But overarching all 3 of these achievements, I see a much broader gift to the people of the United States: separation of church and state. Now, the words separation of church and state are not words you will find in any official government document. Jefferson himself only used them once, and that was in a private letter to a Baptist group that was clamoring for recognition. But in the long run, he handed us the reality of separation of church and state without actually using those words. His first public support for the concept of separation came in a bill he drafted for the government of Virginia in 1776. Because of opposition by the Episcopal Church, which was the state religion of Virginia, it did not become a statute until James Madison got it passed 10 years later. Jefferson's bill was a reflection of his distrust of organized religion and his belief that a person's religion was a natural right. He explained his bill this way: it is an attempt to provide religious freedom to the Jew, the Gentile, the Christian, the Mohammedan, the Hindu, and the infidel of every denomination. One bit of Jefferson's bill that I like says, our civil rights have no more dependence on our religious opinions any more than on our opinions in physics or geometry. The crux of Jefferson's bill is in this paragraph. We, the General Assembly of Virginia, do an act that no man shall be compelled to frequent or support any religious worship, place, or ministry whatsoever, nor shall be forced, restrained, molested, or burdened in his body or goods, nor shall otherwise suffer on account of his religious opinions or beliefs, but that all men shall be free to profess, and by argument to maintain, their opinions in matter of religion, and that the same shall in no way diminish, enlarge, or affect their civil capacities. There's more to Jefferson's bill than we're covering here, so I just suggest you look it up and have an interesting read. You can find the whole thing on Wikipedia or probably some other online sources. During his time at the Confederate Congress in Philadelphia, Jefferson made friends with Joseph Priestley. Now, Priestley was a Unitarian minister / scientist, the man who discovered oxygen, who had been driven out of England because of his religious beliefs. He subsequently brought Unitarianism to Pennsylvania. And incidentally, I'll add that Priestley's church in Philadelphia was where I first met Unitarianism while I was a student at Temple University. His friendship with Jefferson, his friendship inspired Jefferson to later say that he could imagine a future generation of Americans that would be completely Unitarian. Now, Jefferson's Declaration of Independence was not the lead-in to the constitutional government we know today. It was followed by a rather weak form of government, mostly defined by agreement between the states. and it was called the Articles of Confederation. Today, we'd probably see it as a states' rights issue. It gave the country very little in way of a centralized government with any significant powers, because each state was jealous of the others and wanted to keep its own power. It took 6 years after Jefferson's Declaration of Independence to get the Articles of Confederation ratified. Then they were in effect for only 8 years, after which they would be replaced by our present Constitution. While our current Constitution was being drafted, Jefferson was in Europe as an envoy soliciting European support for his new country. So he was not directly involved with the creation of the Constitution, but he still played a vital role in it. Leadership in creating the Constitution went to James Madison. This future president was a Jefferson protege with a genius for organization. He and Jefferson stayed in contact via long letters that took weeks to cross the Atlantic Ocean. But Jefferson wrote to Madison that the new Constitution needed a Bill of Rights. It was required to give people confidence in their new government. Madison thought it was unnecessary, but Jefferson was right. A number of states held back from ratifying the Constitution because there was no protection for individual rights. Madison then changed his mind, and after consultation with Jefferson, proposed 12 amendments. 2 were irrelevant, but the other 10 were eventually added to the Constitution as the Bill of Rights. So how did Jefferson get his concept of separation of church and state into our Constitution without actually using those words that might vex the public? The first line of the First Amendment reflects Jefferson's Enlightenment thinking and his solution to the wording problem. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. This amendment also establishes freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of peaceful assembly, and the right to petition government for a redress of grievances. So now we know how, without any specific mention of separation of church and state, Jefferson gave us the gifts of 1, not being forced into or out of any religion, and 2, not being forced to pay taxes to support a state-sanctioned religion. About now you might be asking, did Jefferson have a religious belief? Yes, he did. Many critics thought Jefferson was an atheist and not to be trusted. Yes, those folks were around back then. But Jefferson told them, I am a real Christian, that is to say, a disciple of the doctrines of Jesus. And he was proud of it and went to church frequently. But in theological terms, he was a deist, meaning one who saw the complexity of the universe and the working out of the laws of nature as proof that a higher power must have created it all. But he did not believe in the supernatural. He did not believe the God who created the universe was in the background, keeping it all running while micromanaging the affairs of men and choosing winners and losers. Maybe that sounds familiar to you. Our title today refers to the Jefferson Bible, so let's talk about that for a few minutes. Jefferson was convinced that the Bible in use during his time had been altered and greatly expanded from the original. He felt that some people added bits to enhance the reputation of Jesus. He felt that some additions were made to enhance the political power of the church. and he felt that some changes were simply the result of mistakes. While he was president in 1804, he discussed these ideas with America's outstanding physician, Benjamin Rush, in Philadelphia. He told Rush he had created a small book by removing all the gospel material he considered extraneous. The first book he entitled The Philosophy of Jesus of Nazareth. We will never know what's in it because no copy of this book exists today. Now, Jefferson was not known for diligent completion of his endless projects. So it was 18 years later, when his presidency and all the responsibilities of it were far behind him, that Jefferson turned to reworking the Bible. This time we do know what he did because the result is in the Library of Congress. And I might mention that the Library of Congress was started when the government purchased a collection of Jefferson's books. To start, Jefferson purchased Bibles in several languages. He wanted to study them and compare them. Once he knew what he wanted to keep, he took a sharp blade and cut the English Bible into strips of text. The ones he wanted to keep, he then pasted into a blank book to form his new publication entitled The Life and Morals of Jesus of Nazareth. Like the Reader's Digest condensed version of any book, Jefferson's book is a lot shorter than the original. I encourage you to get a copy and give it a read. There are numerous editions. Here's my copy, published by Beacon Press, our own UU publishing facility. We don't have time to read much of it, but I will share the ending with you to pique your interest. I hope it's not a spoiler. Then took they the body of Jesus and wound it in linen clothes with the spices, as the manner of the Jews is to bury. Now in the place where he was crucified there was a garden, and in the garden a new sepulchre wherein was never yet man laid. There laid they Jesus, and rolled a great stone to the door of the sepulchre, and departed. Amen. So as I depart this lectern this morning, I hope you've learned something of interest.
Thank you, Ken. I did learn quite a bit. Our next hymn is in the Teal hymnal. It's 1017, Building a New Way.
We are building a new
The offering is a sacrament of the Free Church. It is supported by the generosity of all who join with us. In our tradition, congregations exist because of the generous support of members and friends. It is our privilege and our responsibility to ensure the health and future of the fellowship. There are several ways you can give. You can mail checks to the office, drop them in our mailbox, or call the office to make other arrangements. We are also equipped to accept donations through the Venmo app. Payments through this app should be made to UUFCC offering. If you would like your donation to apply to anything other than the operating fund, like our second helping, for example, please indicate your intentions in the check's memo line. Your generosity is always appreciated. And if you're with us for the first time, do not feel obligated to give. Your presence is gift enough. Thank you. Now it's time to highlight UUFCC's special events and activities. If you look on the back of your order of service, there's a calendar of events that will occur this week. And in addition to that, I have 3 other announcements. The first is just a reminder. Next week is the first Sunday of August, and it's potluck. So please bring something to share. Please take another look at Gina's artwork. See if you can find the pieces entitled Democracy, In Flight, Here and Now. She also has a brief bid and a GoFundMe account. So please take a closer look at this fine art created by a brilliant artist. And the lunch bunch today will meet at Curry Kebabs. And if you have any questions about that, see Ryan R. Additionally, if you would like to have fellowship events highlighted during the service, you can email the worship associate at bookoflife@uufcc.org. Our closing words are by Mark L. Bellatini. Go in peace. Live simply, gently at home in yourselves. Act justly. Speak justly. Remember the depth of your own compassion. Forget not your power in these days of your powerlessness. Do not desire to be wealthier than your peers, and stint not your hand of charity. Practice forbearance. Speak the truth or speak not. Take care of yourselves as bodies, for you are a good gift. Crave peace for all people in the world, beginning with yourselves, and go as you go with the dream of that peace alive in your heart. And now as Ryan comes forward to extinguish our chalice, please join me in our ritual words. We extinguish the chalice, but not the light of hope, the fire of commitment, or the warmth of community. May these ideals shine in our lives and warm our hearts until we are together again. Go now in peace. We will conclude the service with a final hymn, Be Ours a Religion. It's 1058 in the Teal Book. Twice through. Yes, 2 times. Now, remember to turn back on your phones and join us for socializing in the fellowship hall.